What if one of the most important cities in the world was shaped not just by powerful men, but by a black woman history almost forgot? What if behind the maps, the measurements, and the very streets of Washington, D.C. there was a story of brilliance, courage, and quiet resistance? And what if the truth you've heard is only half the story? Before we dive into the main story, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the bell notification button for more interesting video like this. In 1791, a new nation was still fragile. The United States had just won independence, and now it needed something powerful, a capital that would represent its future. President George Washington envisioned a city unlike any other, a symbol of democracy, a seat of power. He chose land along the Potomac River, land carved out between Maryland and Virginia. But building a capital from scratch required more than vision. It required genius. And so, he turned to a French engineer, Pierre Charles L'Enfant. L'Enfant was brilliant, bold, ambitious. He designed grand avenues, wide boulevards, and monumental spaces. His plan would shape the future of Washington, D.C. But there was a problem. A big one. L'Enfant refused to cooperate. To turn L'Enfant's vision into reality, the government needed someone who could measure land, calculate boundaries, and translate imagination into precise geometry. They chose a man who didn't fit the mold of power. A black man. Benjamin Banneker. Born in 1731 to a formerly enslaved mother and a free father, Banneker was largely self-taught. He had no formal education in mathematics or astronomy. Yet, he built a wooden clock that kept perfect time. He predicted solar eclipses. He studied the stars. And now, he was called to help design a nation's capital. But here's where history gets quiet. Because behind great men, there are often voices that are never recorded. Stories whispered but never written. And in the case of Washington, D.C., some historians believe a black woman's role has been overlooked. While Banneker worked alongside surveyor Andrew Ellicott, the work was grueling. They faced harsh terrain, long days, and political pressure. But knowledge, especially in marginalized communities, was rarely individual. It was shared, passed down, protected. Some oral histories and interpretations suggest that black women in the community contributed knowledge about land, navigation, and survival that influenced the work in ways never formally documented. Because in the 18th century, black women's contributions were almost never written into official records. Then everything changed. Pierre L'Enfant was fired. Frustrated with authority, he walked away from the project, taking his detailed plans with him. The capital's design was gone. Or so they thought. Panic spread. Without the plans, months of work could be lost. But then a story emerged, one that would become legend. Benjamin Banneker recreated the entire layout from memory. Every line, every angle, every vision. He redrew the city and saved the project. But here's the mystery. Some historians debate whether Banneker truly recreated the entire plan from memory. Records are incomplete. Accounts differ. And like many black contributions in history, the full truth is buried in silence. But what we do know is this. Banneker was there. He was part of the surveying team. He played a role in shaping the early layout of Washington, D.C., and his intellectual power was undeniable. In 1791, Banneker did something extraordinary. He wrote directly to one of the most powerful men in America, Thomas Jefferson. At the time, Jefferson believed black people were intellectually inferior. So Banneker sent him a copy of his almanac, filled with astronomical calculations, and a letter. A bold, fearless letter. He challenged Jefferson's beliefs. He reminded him of the hypocrisy of slavery in a nation built on freedom. And Jefferson responded with respect, acknowledging Banneker's abilities. For a moment, truth broke through prejudice. Banneker continued publishing almanacs, predicting tides, eclipses, and seasons. His work rivaled that of white scientists. In a time when black intellect was denied, he proved it undeniable. But recognition? That was another story. So where does the black woman come in? History is not just about what is written. It's also about what is missing. Black women, enslaved and free, played crucial roles in early America. They preserved knowledge. They supported communities. They influenced outcomes, even when their names were erased. Could one of them have contributed to the mapping of Washington, D.C.? Could knowledge passed through unseen hands have shaped the capital? We may never know for sure, because history did not record them. Benjamin Banneker died in 1806. On the day of his funeral, his home mysteriously burned down. Many of his papers were lost. His work, nearly erased, but not completely. Today his legacy survives. He is remembered as a scientist, an astronomer, and a pioneer. A man who helped shape a nation that didn't fully recognize him. Washington, D.C., stands today as a symbol of power. Its streets, its monuments, its design, all rooted in a story that is still unfolding. But history is not fixed. It evolves, it questions, it uncovers, and sometimes it reveals voices we were never meant to hear. So the next time you see a map of Washington, D.C., ask yourself, whose hands really drew these lines? Whose knowledge shaped this city? And more importantly, who else has history forgotten? Because the deeper you look, the more you realize, the story of America is still being rewritten. If you want more hidden stories like this, more forgotten truths, and more powerful history, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because some of the greatest stories are the ones history tried to erase. For more videos like this, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.